Okay. Once again, thank you so much, Brooklyn Young Republican Club, President Glenn DeSera, for this invitation. I'm really honored to be speaking here this afternoon. It's like I said, it's 64 shows. I just finished my 64th show on Friday. It's amazing. I love my show. I'm working on growing the show. Just anybody has anybody that could, I'm doing a crowdfunding. Frankie Russo show. Just go to facebook.com/Frankie Russo show. You see all my material. My profile page is Frankie Russo 443 on Facebook. My Twitter is Frankie Russo 1. And that's about it. Now, we're gonna, I got my little thought I've been working on. This is part one. All right, like I said, I don't have access to classified documents, right? Well, how do we do this? Like, what do we do? You know, I look at articles, $1.89 trillion spent. Tax revenue they collected this year, the most in record. Most in record. What's going on over here? Where's all the money? California, in 2013, $113 billion they collected. And they had counties going bankrupt. What's going on over here? All this money, where's it going? I get calls all the way from San Diego to North Carolina, you know, and everybody has their take on what's going on, and I respect that. You know, everybody has, they read the papers, they look at the TV, they look at the internet, and they say, wow, what's going on? I'm overwhelmed by everything, you know, and I get people real upset about it. I got a dude calling up telling me, Frankie, you know, I think I'm gonna lose my house. I feel really bad about it, but I try to help to do as much as I can. It's really a rough situation what we're facing as Americans. So my feeling is, like I said earlier in the little talk we had, was the Nish thing. The Nish had this great movie called America, Where Would the World Be Without Her? And he called it The Restoration of America. So this is my take on how I believe real time, in real time, not convention of states where we got to wait for all this political fodder, constitutional fodder. I'm talking about real time stuff, that what we can do, conceivably. We got to have, you know, obviously the Democrats there's no more JFK Democrats, they're gone. We got these Sandinistas and these crazies running around that, you know, just their remedy to things is tax and spend. You know, they got a problem, throw money on it. That's why we got $113 billion in the state of California in 2013. And I forgot to mention, you know, just for a little food for thought, Apple in 2013, you know what their gross revenue was? $115 billion. Really, Frankie Russo? Real. This is real stuff. They garnered almost as much as the second largest information technology company in the world. Right? It's crazy. Tax and spend, quasi-Keynesian model, deficit spending. They love it. We are facing, and you know, to quote many of these scholars, before I get to the information, quoting many of scholars, we are, you know, quite frankly, our country is in a nosedive, neglecting air resistance, MG going down, gravitation, we're headed straight down. And you know, from now to the beginning of the last quarter of this year, we're looking at conceivably, our economy is very tenuous. I don't want to be alarmist, but just look at the numbers that they're reporting aren't real. We're not getting real numbers all the way around, from the equity markets all the way to the commodity markets. It's just a big, the growth is zero. Now they're saying, I listen to some leading scholars, we're in a recession. We're getting, they're getting close to calling it an actual recession. So I mean, you know, I'm not going to put everybody all through that stuff, but it's crazy. So I think everybody's aware of it. I'm not be saying anything profound. Okay. So now, how do we start our way toward, I believe, restoring us back where we have some sort of control as Americans? This is what I feel is something that we should look at. We should look at the vetting process. The vetting process, let's start with the presidential candidates running this 2016. We start with them because eventually we should take this prong test, this three-four prong test that I think is pretty statistically significant. We should take it to the congressional positions, to the United States Senate, and the House of Representatives. Because this is real now. Understand? World War II, these are no longer conventional wars. This is a war of information. War of information with high tech, okay? Vetting, four-prong test. The first one, obviously, is Article 2, Section 1, okay? I mention this a lot on my show, and it's real. Go on the Facebook. You know, go on the internet, Facebook, whatever. Put in your URL bar. Senate Resolution 511. Frankie Russo, what's that? Okay. Senate Resolution 511 was co-sponsored, for anybody's information, by Hillary Clinton and the mystery man, Barack Obama. Okay. John McCain was born on the Panama Canal, was a captain in the Navy, right? His grandfather was an admiral in the Navy. His father was an admiral in the Navy. Yet, he had to be vetted. And here's a guy, I mean, his politics, I can't figure it out. But the truth be told, we have here a situation where John McCain was vetted and nobody else was vetted. So why can't we start to vet? Right. Instead of, like, for example, everybody likes Ted Cruz, the way he speaks or whatever. He says some interesting things about, you know, whatever, people like him. Me, he's a re-engineering of Barack Obama. He was just to give you an example, I'm using the example. He was a dual citizen in 2014. He made himself an American citizen to run for president. Born in Canada, says his mother's a United States citizen, so according to him, he's eligible. According to all the people that talk, constitutional scholars, lawyers, he's eligible. I say, really? I say, let me ask you a question. You're a constitutional scholar, you're a constitutional scholar, you're a legal scholar. Yeah, I am. Was Obamacare unconstitutional? Yes, it was. So what happened, son? Didn't John Roberts step in, the Chief Justice step in, and what happened? It was constitutional. So why can't the United States Senate step in and say, you know something? Let's reopen the McCain hearing and start this thing again. Let's put Ted Cruz. If the United States Senate says Ted Cruz is eligible, then he's eligible. If they say Rand Paul is eligible, then he's eligible. If they say, who's the other cat? Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio was born in 71. His father was naturalized in 75. So here's the discrepancy. Right. Minor versus Happersett, the common law says at the time of, at the individual's birth, both parents have to be United States citizens. But then you have the other scholars that bring in the 14th Amendment. So why can't we just fix this, let them have the debate, and let them say, the United States citizens say who's eligible or not? Instead of us going, well, Ted Cruz says he's eligible, Marco Rubio says he's eligible, Barack Obama said he was eligible. Barack Obama said he was eligible, right? But Barack Obama's a little different now. We're going to kick to that in a minute. So, now, Barack Obama. Now, birth certificate. They love us to talk about that birth certificate. Mainstream press wants us to talk about that birth certificate all the time. They got pushback, right? We still have to handle the question, the natural born citizen clause. That hasn't yet to be defined, really. It's there, but it has to be defined by the United States Senate. So that's yet to happen. And plus, like, you know, it's a fake birth certificate. You know, it's like, it's really fake. So then with the Senate Resolution 511, I'm going to pull that thing up. Senate Resolution 511 is really interesting. Senate Resolution, I'll put it into the computer, 511. Now, with Senate Resolution 511, John McCain is born on the Panama Canal. Grandfather's an admiral, father's an admiral, he's a captain in the Navy.
But wasn't he born on a military base?
Well, military base, whatever. He was born, they claimed it was, you're right. In the Panama, they said the Panama Canal. Here's the resolution. Whereas the Constitution of the United States requires that to be eligible to President of the United States, a person must be a natural-born citizen of the United States. Whereas the term natural-born citizen, the term in Article 2, Section 1, is not defined in this is Obama, is not defined in the Constitution of the United States. Whereas there is no evidence of the intention of the framers, which is not true. Whereas whereas such limitation would be inconsistent with the purpose and the intent of the Natural Born Citizen Clause, whereas the well-being of all citizens of the United States, and whereas previous presidential candidates were born outside, which is because, obviously, they were born outside. Why? I mean, they all migrated, most of them were from England. They came here, we had colonies here. So why do you think the Natural Born Citizen Clause was there? I mean, it's not brain surgery. You don't have to be a legal scholar to understand that. Why do you think it was there? They were concerned about England at the time was a powerhouse. And they were concerned about allegiance to England. So they had this clause. So obviously the people that weren't born in America, that had to grandfather them in, right? So the only two, according to the record that I understand, it has to be confirmed, the only two, Barack Obama and Chester Arthur, the only two presidents right now that are in question on whether they were natural born citizens or not. Okay? So
George Washington grandfathered in?
he got grandfathered in.
He was born in England.
He was born, and you know, we had to start somewhere, right? We took on a powerhouse, and we won. It's amazing. These founding fathers were amazing. So now Barack Obama, he wants us to talk about this birth certificate all day, because just based on the Senate Resolution 511, you see why. They got pushback. There's a debate. Time is on his side. He's in office. He got in, they let him in, and it's a big question where he was born. And that's yet to be answered. However, they don't want us to talk about his fraudulent draft card. It is statistically significant. They did a PICA study on the stamp of his birth certificate. And the investigation is to a point where it's worth the Congress, the FBI, or an investigating agency stepping in and checking it out. But obviously nobody wants to. But the PICA stamp is so it's later technology. 1980, he had to have on his stamp for it to be deemed an authentic card. He had 80 on it. And this gentleman, the Cole Posse, the Sheriff Joe in Arizona, they did a full investigation on this. It's statistics that forensic audit, they got it down to the PICA. It was later technology. 2008, they have it down on how they faked the card. They cut the PICA, the stamp, the 2008 stamp, in half, and they fitted it in, and they have it down to the inch on how it was put in. So, conceivably, with some high level of statistical significance, because it hasn't been put through the smell test, an actual investigation, like by the Senate or the congressional, the authority is working, based on the evidence that we have, is working investigation. I believe it's statistically significant, and that means with high probability we have an illegal president, because if the going on the premise that the Secret Service card is fraudulent, according to federal law, can't serve in the executive branch. So it's a crazy, crazy stuff. To me, he's the biggest OG of all pre-presidents that's come before him. He has a fraudulent selective service card. OG is gangster.
Oh.
Gangster. He is the biggest OG gangster. He's sitting in the White House, Commander-in-Chief, he's got a fraudulent selective service card. Are you kidding me? Now, that's part one. The next part of this test is the Petraeus standard. General Petraeus was the director of the CIA. Loved him. Did some great things. Unfortunately, he fell from grace. Had an extramarital affair, which, being the director of the CIA, is my understanding, is against policy. And his classified documents ended up getting into a book. So let me ask you, why can't we vet every one of these cats like that as well? Everybody that's elected, starting from 16, should be held to that same standard. And also, United States Senator Mendez. Now, you know, don't take me the wrong way now when I'm going to say this. Please. You know, I'm not a sexist. I love women. I'm not a sexist. But those girls that he was playing around with, well, they look like Sports Illustrated models. And quite frankly, if you really think about it, you don't think a cat like Putin can send one over? And that's how intelligence starts to move through relationships. It's crazy, right? He sits up classified, and I like Mendez. I mean, he's a Democrat. He's one of the few Democrats I like. At least he stood up against, like, the Iranian policies. So at least the guy showed some chutzpah and said it's wrong, you know, with the Iranian negotiations and some other issues. But think about it. Here's a guy, maybe he's having, hanging out, he wants to hang out, he wants to hang out with some girls, whatever, it's his business or whatever. But you don't know if a guy like Putin is sending girls over and asking them questions about some sort of information about America. It's real. This is the war that we're facing. This is real stuff. So why can't, we have to make certain that any of these cats that are running, that they don't fall within that problem. And then we have the other one that I believe, which is a big one. The Clinton Foundation standard. Yeah. Are they foreign influenced? And we know the law. We know the law. No foreign entity, no foreign government, nothing could put money, are supposed to be able to influence an American political campaign. It's illegal. But yet, Barack Obama, I'm going to get to that. I'm going to get to that one, okay? So, here's my test. We got Article 2, Section 1. We got the General Petraeus Standard. We got the U.S. Senator Mendez, which is part of the General Petraeus Standard. And then we have the Clinton Foundation Standard. There's no reason why that at this we came here and we can't make certain through their intelligence that all these people that are running for president, whether it be Democrats or Republicans, that they don't fit within this standard. They could just check past campaigns for the United States Senate and see if they got any foreign influence. If they did, they're out. This is crazy. Okay, so we're going to get to hint question. I'm going to get to part 2 now. Just give me a second. That's my part 1. That's part one of this restoration, because I believe they have to be vetted. So we vet our candidates now. They go through the test, which was already opened up by Senate Resolution 511. This is not like, we're not reinventing the wheel. We're not doing something that hasn't already been done. We're just adding to the committee, to this committee that they would have sitting while candidates are declaring themselves. Do they fit in these standards? Which I think it's not asking much. This is part of my pre-show. This is the first time I introduced this part of it. Now, my pre-show, I get this thing about the Clinton. I don't know about you all, but I got this thing about the Clinton machine. It drives me crazy. You know? It really does. To me, it's unconscionable. It's like fist effing Mother Earth, like the United States government, taking their fists and just slamming it in the ground, you know? So like, okay now, how do we stop the Clintons? It's a big task, a big machine, big lot of money, right? What do we do? You know, somebody called me on my show, uranium won, the entire United States government approved it. 20% of uranium is owned by, is that true? Russia? Is that true? I don't know if this is significant, but it's crazy.
Yeah.
That's true. That's crazy. It's crazy. Right? And there's so many other business dealings or whatever, and I'm like, this is nuts. You know? But it's like always, see, the Clintons are smart. Like Obama, who's the biggest OG of them all, the Clintons are smart as well. Bill Clinton is Dracula, Count Dracula. Put him in a bloodbath. Put him in. He's having a bloodbath right now. He's Count Dracula. Forget it, okay? So now, I'm going to start. This is my take on why I believe. Here's my question. Food for thought. It's statistically significant, I believe. This is my question. Do you believe that the executive branch of the United States government is a criminal enterprise? Yeah. Frankie Russo, you're a loon job. Frankie Russo, you're crazy. This is my take on it, and I believe it's statistically significant. First one, Obama. And we went through Obama, right? We deemed him, based on his selective service card, his draft card, his fraudulent, he's an illegal president. Okay? So right off the bat, we have an illegal president sitting in the White House. They don't want you to believe it. They call you a Bertha, you're a Tea Partier, you're a loon job, you're a whack job. We're not crazy. We're not crazy. We're not racist. We're dishonest. I'm not racist. It's about the human race, not about a particular race. I could care less. I just want to know that this guy was an American. I believe he's a foreign national, you know, quite frankly. But we're going to continue the conversation. So now, we got this, we have an illegal, so we have a fraudulent draft card. Right? Now, December 2008, Barack Obama signs a memorandum of understanding with the Clinton Foundation. Okay? MOU they call it. So now we got the Clinton Foundation. So now Baumann is connected. He took the State Department with